Brett Andrews.
Yes.
Thank you so very, very much for creating this show, bringing all these artists together. And so now we've got a taste of the Modbo Gallery right here in Palmer Lake.
I'm actually a local boy. I grew up out in this area. Went to school in Savannah, Georgia. I'm a narrative figurative painter. I'm a big believer in kind of supplying the words and letting the viewer put together a sentence. It's kind of what I hang my hat on, is just being able to supply kind of a sentence, or supply the words for a sentence. I'm really excited about the show. The show, all the artists that we're showing are part of what we call the Modbo Collective. They're a group of painters that we represent down at our gallery. We meet about once or twice a month, critique each other, work together as a group. We're all narrative figurative painters, kind of work in different aesthetics, but very similar. We hold each other accountable. We keep each other out of bad habits. You know, we kind of kick each other's butts on a daily basis.
The closers.
Yeah.
Would you like to say a few words about this amazing painting?
First of all, my process starts on the computer. I'm a graphic designer by trade. So I was responding to some old photos that I found. A lot of my imagery is found from old catalogs, postcards. I found the background image on a postcard and I thought it was really cool. I liked the train and I liked the cityscape. And then I found these guys in an old catalog. I really enjoy the show, the TV show Mad Men. It was inspired a little bit by that.
Right.
I think a lot of my art is inspired by mid-century design, both graphic design, furniture design, just in general, like just that mid-century feel. These guys they're like the guys who come into the job that are gonna finish it. Like that's why I called it the closer. But I wanted to kind of play against just the idea of like being a worker and being business, and I'm very interested in how that plays against like just being human and just being like a caring individual in society. Yeah, kind of a juxtaposition of all of those things.
Do you own a black hat?
I don't actually. I should. I really need to get a fedora.
Nina Peterson. This is a fantastic piece of work. Everybody that comes through the door looks at this and goes, wow, I'd like to know a little bit more about this amazing painting.
The medium I'm working with right now is ballpoint pen. So it's about a loss of control, an attempt to regain control. It's about mistakes and attempting to cope with those mistakes in a way that is sometimes ineffective. The ballpoint pen work is really time consuming, and it's yeah. I think that this work was a reflection upon myself and attempting to gain control in a way that was kind of ineffective. It was an attempt to purge something that couldn't be purged.
The detail is just astounding. Nina, thank you so very, very much for participating in the Modbo Collective show. Thank you so very, very much. Lorelei Beckstrom, everybody loves your work. There are pieces throughout the gallery here at the Tri-Lake Center for the Arts, and when people see your work, they go, man, I got to meet that artist. And so it's really a privilege to meet you. So thank you very much for doing this show.
Thank you.
And Lorelei Beckstrom of the Modbo Collective.
Yes.
Would you like to say a few words about this spectacular piece?
This actually was the first of my Wirewalker paintings that I guess I'm kind of becoming known for. I watched the movie Man on Wire with Philippe Petit, and I became fascinated with that. And I mean, it was moving. I saw the movie and cried. I started looking at images of Wirewalkers, and I started seeing the people watching them. And that actually became even more moving because I saw how they were inspired and moved by what was happening. And that's really what happened with all of my crowd paintings that I've started doing now. I'm really focusing on painting audiences and kind of pondering the question of who's watching who.
Exactly.
Gallery goers are staring at the paintings, and meanwhile the paintings are staring back at them. So that whole idea just really intrigues me.
Trevor Thomas.
Yeah.
Would you like to explain this piece or share what was going through you when you decided to paint
Sure.
this?
This piece is actually a tribute to Anders Zorn. He did several etchings of band players and boatmen and things like that. And this was a piece that I wanted to kind of pay homage to him. I'm very invested in the figure. I'm very invested in old traditions. So this was an attempt to try and learn from the masters, so to speak. I've had a lot of people say that my work is very emotive in the sense that people are able to really try and grab something from it at a visceral level. It sort of has that nostalgic feel in a way.
Would you like to say a few words about your drawings?
Well, first I'd like to say it's great to be here and be involved with this group of artists. I picked my figure drawings to talk about because the human figure is the most interesting, the most exciting, beautiful, complex entity in the universe. It takes the most concentration, and I learn the most from working with the figure. That's why I like to teach the figure. Also, it helps me in the other areas of my work, learning to draw, learning to see, learning to incorporate all the different parts that all the struggles that we try to solve as artists are contained in the figure.
There, I wanted to speak into modern man's addiction to lust, and I think that it's an unhealthy addiction, and I don't want to ever create a piece that doesn't provoke a really strong response for people to look at themselves, look at their own lives, positive or in a way that helps them make changes. And that's really what I want my work to be about. Color, light, texture, those are all fun things, but it has to have a narrative that speaks into the depth of the soul. And I'm not content to do anything other than that ever. I almost named it Jezebel.
Okay, there you go.
But it's not a statement on women as much as it is men.
Right.
And how they lose the promise of what a good woman offers.
One-man Bob Gray show in the Lucy Owens Gallery at the Tri-Lake Center for the Arts. Bob, would you like to explain this painting?
Well, thanks, Michael. This is one of my favorite paintings. This happens to be in Dingle, Ireland, with all these old fishing boats are sitting there at the harbor, all broken up and rusty and everything, and I'm sure that they never go anywhere. I've actually painted this scene several times in different mediums, oil, watercolors, and this just happens to be an acrylic. And that's one of my favorite paintings.
Well, Bob, we can't thank you enough for doing this show and teaching all these students. We have a lot of students here tonight, too. And so you've really impacted a lot of folks for the arts along the front.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it very, very much.